Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
Did bureaucratic red tape hamper this response in any way?
No, look, the World Health Organization offered the testing kits that they have available and to give it to us now. We refused them. We did not want to buy them. We did not want to get them from them. We wanted to make sure we had our own. I think he said something like, we have the best scientists in America.
This is why we're so behind. This is what happened. And poor, doctors, Anthony Fauci and this Birx lady, they're having to cover for this president because if they're not there, then he has no one who understands anything about pandemics. And they don't want to get into it with him because they don't want to be fired because they feel that their best days are spent doing what they're doing, trying to get this idiot to take this seriously. And the only thing that he will take seriously is an economic crash. And that happened. That actually happened while he was speaking. The stock market plummeted today to the second worst plummet in the stock market happened today while the president was speaking. The Dow dropped 2,999 points. That is 12.94%, almost 13%. And if it would have happened before 4 o'clock, we would have had the second shutdown of the stock market that we had today. We had one early this morning. When it came out of the gate this morning, they had to shut down trading for 15 minutes because it plummeted 7%. And then the second circuit breaker pull, the second time the circuit breaker shut down the market is if it hits 13%. And then if it hits 20%, a 20% drop, then they stop trading for the whole day. We nearly got to the second circuit breaker today, 12.94. It was the worst daily performance of the stock market since Black Monday. Black Monday was when Ronald Reagan was president in 1987, and that was worse than the Great Depression in 1929. It was worse. There is a wave of selling going on, right? And the Federal Reserve on Sunday slashed interest rates for banks, not for you, for banks to near zero so that they could make more profit on loans, right? And announced a $700 billion quantitative easing program, meaning they're going to buy bonds and treasury and it's still not having any of it because everybody is hoarding their bread. All these people in the market, you know what they're doing? They're putting it in gold, they're putting it in safe deposit boxes, they're getting their cash. They're taking it out. Trillions and trillions of dollars because we, the consumer, are going to be hobbled. And they know that. They know that. They know we won't be buying things. We won't be supporting the economy. We won't have any paychecks. Did you really think that you were going to be able to survive Donald Trump? Did you? You idiots that voted for him, the 63 million Americans, and the 80% of those who still support him. Did you really think you were going to be able to survive a man with no vision, with no character, with no moral compass, with no ability to make a decent decision on behalf of the American people? A man who's just about every one of his friends is either in prison or awaiting sentencing to go to prison. Did you think a fraud, a dishonest broker was going to be something you, the little guy, the forgotten man, could survive? Are you freaking kidding me? In chaos, they can steal. And you're watching people steal. They're putting their money under the mattress. They're putting their money in safety deposit boxes, in jewels, in diamonds, in gold. What's wrong with people? What's wrong with you? Why in the world would this man get any support from any working person in this country? We're now having to talk about food assistance programs. We're now having to talk about unemployment insurance extensions. We're now having to talk about paid sick leave, which this country does not offer. What a twisted, ridiculous, unequal, corroded, corrupt system we have. And now it's laid bare. Now it's all exposed. Do you think people are going to stop voting for corporate? No, they'll still do it because it's all they know and it represents security or safety or something known. Sandy in St. Paul.
Yes. Sorry. I was listening to Trump talking about his testing. The reporter said there's no record of you being tested, and then he backtracked and said, it was late Friday night, and then I don't know when the test came back, and then it was like, it came back 24 hours.
Who cares?
I don't believe that he was even tested.
I don't care. Do you care? I don't care. I don't care about him. I don't care.
Well, here he is telling everybody else to behave and do this and that.
But he's not telling everybody to get tested because there aren't any tests to use. There are very few tests to use. People aren't being triaged by the severity of their symptoms. People are being triaged by their underlying conditions and their ability to handle an infection because they have to pick and choose who to give tests to. And that is why we are seeing these draconian suggestions that we stay home, that we hunker down, that we don't go out, that we don't go to work, we don't get on a subway, we don't send our kids to school, we don't go to a restaurant, we can't be with our friends in bars, we can't do it because there aren't tests. That is why we are being subjected to these kinds of measures. And as I keep saying, the World Health Organization offered us tests at the beginning of this mess. And the president said no, because the numbers would look bad for him. Chris in California.
Hey, thanks, Randy, for taking my call. If you got 40 million viewers, I'll bet there's at least 500,000 that are in my boat. And that is, I have type 2 diabetes. I'm almost 65. I turned 65 in May. I'm broke as a joke. I'm supposed to hunker down, yet get out in public and go get tested somewhere. No one's telling me.
Right.
I have no credit card. Social Security is my only income.
Yep.
Like a good boy, I paid all my bills and rent like I do every month, and I'm usually broke around the 10th. And what are people like me supposed to do? Go buy hand sanitizer, go buy this, go buy that. We need a check for the poor people.
You're damn right we do.
The banks, he's giving
and
to
it
the
isn't,
businesses.
listen, it ain't just about poor people, Chris. It's about the middle class. It's about people who can't afford a $400 emergency but work. It's about people who work 2 and 3 jobs. It's about women who are single women, fathers that are single fathers who have to stay home because their kids are out of school. Go to RandiRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.